Yeah, I'm Hardeep Singh. I'm a cropping system specialist. You guys might have heard me talking more about cotton peanuts earlier. This is my first time doing some livestock presentation, like speaking at the livestock event. But it was a good challenge. It took me some time to put this presentation together. I would like to thank my co-author Shivendra Kumar, who helped me to put some data together from Live Oak site. And I'm agronomist. I have heard that we use the phrase "it depends," so please bear with me if I use that phrase in my presentation.
Clicking the presentation again, I think I click it on the Zoom.
Okay, you might have heard this earlier from our different presenters that why do we need integrated crop livestock system? So the thing is with these issues, like if you see on your left side, there are the issues. So it's a climate change, unpredictable weather, and biotic stress like pest control. With all those issues, we need to develop some robust agriculture system, which is more resilient, means if there are some impacts, it can still keep on working. It does have a resistance and it does have a constancy. So that's what crop diversification and inclusion of cattle or livestock in there will help. So that's why we need to have an integrated crop livestock system. Now, if I talk about hierarchy of agriculture system, if you see on the bottom, it's a basic agriculture system, which is like conventional, going only with the row crops. But as you keep moving up, it keeps on getting like it's more integrated system. And if you see the arrow about the complexity, so the complexity in each of these systems keep on increasing. So as you go from the normal, like a row crop, to integrating the, bringing in the cover crops and then integrating the livestock, it gets complex. But at the same time, your risk is decreasing. So you have less risk. Like suppose you are growing corn, soybean. You do not have the price for corn, soybean this year, but if you have the price for cattle, that decreases your risk. But with all those benefits, what is the reason that people are not adopting this integrated crop livestock systems? So the main barriers are insufficient management resources, and sometimes like they have a pride and comfort with the current practices. They do not want to change. They want to continue what they are doing from the years. Crop residue, as we have heard about from our experts earlier, there might be problem with the crop residue, like how much cattle is grazing and how much is left behind. Financial cost. During the beginning years, we can think of some financial cost with this livestock for the fencing, for the water in there. And then there is a knowledge gap, because when we are bringing in some other variables like cover crops or animals in there, so there is a knowledge gap that people are having about those new components. So if we can overcome these barriers, that's one way that we can increase the adoption of integrated crop livestock systems. Today I will be talking about like what we can expect, or what farmers, row crop producers can expect when they are integrating this livestock into their production system, and what should be the expectations. So we have heard earlier about the bulk density. Dr. Audrey Gamble from Auburn presented the data about soil compaction. So usually with this, when we introduce the livestock in there, there is some research which says like there is increase in bulk density, but what we found, like due to that increase in bulk density, there might be impacts on the reduced root development and decreased water infiltration and reduced crop yield. But the crop person doesn't want that happen. They want more crop yield, right? But there are specific cases, like it depends like how you are managing your systems. You can see increase in bulk density for a short term. And as you keep on going with the season, the increase in bulk density may go away, and there might not be any impact on the crop yields. I will support this with the data in coming slides. I will show the impacts of the short-term impacts and the long-term impacts of the integrated crop livestock systems. Another reason, it could be the overstocking. So if you are bringing in more cattle than needed in the area, that might be another reason why the soil bulk density may go up. So those can be those are more the management decisions if we manage our cattle properly, or also if we are putting our cattle on the wetland. The moisture in the soil also play a big role. Dr. Audrey Gamble mentioned that if you are putting the cattle on the wet area, that might be another case where you can get the increased bulk density. So here is the data. Again, as I am not working with the cattle, this is not my data. I either literature searched it or I got some data from Shivendra. So this is the first, on your left, there is a table which is the data from South Dakota. And you can see the difference between grazed and ungrazed. And that's a short-term impact. They were looking at the impact of this ICLS systems for a short term, like for 2 years. You can see that in that trial, under the grazed system, there was an increase in bulk density for both of the depths. So I'm talking about here, like if you see 1.22 versus 1.13, so it was a significantly higher. But the same results for the bulk density, these are the results from Dr. Dubey's lab. And you can see over here, they were comparing different systems. So first bar is no cover crop. And then if you see this sod-based rotation in there, there is a reduction in bulk density. So basically this is a short-term versus long-term impact. In the short term, you can expect increase in bulk density, but with the long term, you will not see those impacts. So here is the another data which supports the same thing for the soil organic carbon. If you see the graph on your left, the site 1, site 2 and site 3 are the long terms, while site 4 is from the short term impact. So site 1, site 2 and site 3 were the on-farm sites, and they were doing this integrated crop livestock systems from years. You can see that the green bar and the blue bar, the light bar over here, I'm talking. So this green bar and this next bar is the control, which is the conventional system. You can see in all of those sites, site 1, 2 and 3, there was a significant increase in soil organic carbon for all those sites. But if you look up for the site 4, there was no difference. So the thing is, you should expect some long-term impact instead of the short-term impacts. The soil organic carbon increased for the long-term studies versus short-term studies. And the similar for, like it's a same trial, you can see over here that soil organic carbon under sod-based rotation increased as compared to no cover crop treatment. So this is the data for the number of pores. So sometimes the research reports like there is no difference or there is positive impact. And if you can see over here, the orange dot shows the conventional system, while the blue dot shows the ICLS. And you can see that number of pores were increasing throughout the growing season, like at the beginning of the pasture phase also it was increased. But number of, for the middle of the pasture phase, they decreased, but again it increased. So you can see that increase in bulk density is for the short term, but it again goes away. So these are the results from Dr. David Wright's research. You can see over here the difference between the peanut root growth. You can see on your left there is a conventional system. The root growth is very less, while on the sod-based rotation there is a higher root growth. It again goes back to the soil pores, like it does have a good conditions for the root growth. And this data is published in a Peanut Science Journal. You can see over here, like for these two graphs, like this is year 1, this gray bar is for the grazed and this white one is for non-grazed. You can see the root volume is significantly increased, like it increased from 82 to 30%, 300%. So as you introduce some sod-based rotation, or I think in this trial there was a inclusion of the livestock also, so there was a significant increase in the root volume. So this is the trial which is being conducted in live oak, and I would like to thank Shivendra for sharing this data with me. And you can see here, this is like each section of this pivot is the cropping system. So this section is biograss, corn, carrot, peanut rotation, and this is the conventional. This is the carrot, peanut, and then corn, peanut, and this one is also corn, peanut, but it's rotated over the years. And if you come in this section, it's biograss for 2 years and then corn, peanut, but then there is another rotation which is corn, carrot, peanut. In this trial, we were looking at the nitrogen leaching. So we discussed earlier about the nutrient cycling. So ICLS supports like better nutrient cycling, and it also reduces the nitrogen losses through leaching. And the lysimeters were installed in there, and the leachate was collected. You can see in this video, the leachate was collected whenever there was a rainfall or bi-weekly, and the sample was collected and sent for the nitrate analysis. And I will show the example of two systems. One is the conventional system and another is the biograss system. In this system, we didn't introduce the livestock in there. So if I remember correctly, Shivendra, we introduced it in 2023, right? But we do not have the data for 2023. We have the data only until 2022. So that's what we will be showing with the sort-based rotation, like how much leaching is being reduced. So if you see in 2019, 389 pounds of nitrogen was applied and 48 pounds of nitrogen was being leached in corn system. But in peanuts, 11 pounds was applied and 52 pounds was being leached down. And in 2021, 320 pounds was applied and 63 pounds was leaching down. And for 2022, 15 pounds was applied and still 20 pounds of nitrogen was being leached down. And if we see this biograss, corn, peanut rotation, so there was no data for 2019 and 2020 because system was being established. But for 2021, if we applied 320 pounds of nitrogen per acre, only 32 pounds of nitrogen was being leached down. And in the peanut system, 15 pounds was applied and only 5 pounds was leaching down. You can see, like if I go back to the previous slide, if we just compile like 20 pounds and 63 pounds, we are seeing like 83, only for 2022 and 2021, almost 83 pounds of nitrogen was being leached down in conventional system. But if you see in this biograss or sort-based rotation, only 37 pounds of nitrogen was being leached down. So there is a big reduction in nitrogen being leached down if we are bringing the sort-based rotation in, and I'm expecting that as we are introducing the livestock into it, there might be more reduction in nitrate leaching. The previous research done by Dr. David Wright and Dr. Cheryl McCovic showed that if we introduce the livestock into the system, the nitrate being leached down is reduced. So now jumping to the consideration, like what should be considered to reduce the impact of like if we are seeing the increased bulk density or some other challenges. We can see over here, like this is the photo from Panhandle Ag News article. On your left, you can see the pasture being undergrazed, and on the right, you see the overgrazed pasture. So it is the managing the grazing intensity. So if you are undergrazing, then you can expect increased CN ratio because your pasture will be more mature, and the CN ratio will increase. So CN ratio is like the cattle might not use all the biomass in there. So there will be still biomass left behind. So if the CN ratio is higher, you might see the immobilization of some nitrogen in your field. And due to that, you will have the low soil fertility. But on the other side, if you are having the overgrazing, you can see like there is a bare soil, you can expect some increased soil erosion and nutrient runoff because there is no plant to take up that nutrient. At same time, reduced plant productivity. And if you see this graph from graph at the bottom, so if you see the years over here are from 2041 to 2058. So I'm talking about the long-term impact. That's why I selected this graph to show to you. They use the model, they call it sticks model, to predict like how it will perform in the long-term scenario. So this was the study about the grazing intensity. So if you see on the x-axis, there are G10, G20, G30 and G40, which are the height of the grass. So G10 was minimum height, while G40 was like they were maintaining that was the maximum height of the grass, while UG is ungrazed. And this is the data for the biomass production. So you can see over here, like when they were maintaining the height of 40, they were having the highest plant productivity as compared to the ungrazed also, and higher intensity, grazing intensity. So if we are able to maintain the grazing intensity, so that would result into better economic yield, economic returns also, as well as biomass production. Another way is the rotational grazing. So rotational grazing is like dividing the pasture into different areas and rotating the cattle around in those areas. The benefit of this is like the research showed that there is a 30 to 50% increase in the forage production, and then it avoids the excessive nutrient loading, because when your animal is moving around, you will have a better distribution of the manure, and that will help us having a better fertility and better production. And then there is a better forage quality and reduced soil compaction and better weed control. But at the same time, if you are implementing rotational grazing, you can expect some initial cost, which are like due to the extra infrastructure, more time investment for moving the cattle, and then land constraint also, if you are not having enough land to have the different paddocks. So another way to consider is the crop rotation. So we need to select for the diversified crop rotation, so that we are having the year round. As we heard from the experts earlier, that they want their cattle to be grazed as much as they can, like 100 days or April 10 deadline. We need to bring up that cover crops in there, which can give them the forage for longer period. Another is the grazing adapted crops. So dual purpose crops or mixtures of the legumes and non-legumes can be better, because legumes can provide some nitrogen for the non-legumes, while the non-legumes can help in better soil health. Another thing that I was listening over here is like they want the pasture to be established as soon as possible. We are doing the research with Jennifer Bearden, and we are trying to see if we can use the drones to establish the cover crop in a standing cotton. So that would help us to have the like 2-week window earlier, and that way, like when the cotton is defoliated, we can spread the cover crop seeds into the standing cotton, and in that way, like there might be a better earlier establishment of the cover crop, and that would also help the livestock people. So another thing is expecting the long-term impact. So sometimes farmers start doing the adopt this integrated crop livestock system, but they want to see the results in very first year. As I showed earlier also, like in previous slides, that the soil health, it changes slowly, so you can expect long-term impacts rather than the short-term impacts. So the nutrient cycling, reduction in the greenhouse emissions, and economic returns can take some time that when you can see the impacts. With that, we can summarize that ICLS approach exhibits similar or positive impacts. So the research from different parts of US showed that there were similar impacts, or there were positive impacts of ICLS on the crop productivity. And if you consider the greenhouse emission mitigation, then ICLS can be considered as a better system as compared to conventional system. And the rotational grazing and the other diversified crop rotations can be considered as some solution that can have a better impact on the long-term impact you can see. With that, I would like to thank you all for paying attention, and this is a picture from my recent India trip, and you can see this is my little one, how obsessed she is with the goats, with the livestock, and I would like to thank FDEX for providing funding for the trial in live oak, And here is my contact information. If you have any other questions, if I can be of any help, please feel free to reach me out.